Hey everybody, this is Clip with Clip Speaks, and we're live again on Wednesday. But we made it to another Wednesday, so y'all come on in. Listen, we're live on Facebook. As far as my Facebook page, we're live on Clint Speaks on Facebook. We're also live on YouTube. So listen, I am excited about tonight. I'm not gonna prolong it. We go jump right in. Listen, I have been bringing some things. Well, let me say this first. First off, I just found out that there was somebody that I consider family. She lost her king. That was her exact words, I believe, on today. Doing something he loved and that was trucking. So our thoughts and prayers go out to Tabitha Branch. Respectfully, I'm excited about tonight and what I have been doing outside of just speaking to you all directly on things that's coming to me as far as subjects. I want to keep everybody educated on things that, especially, uh, you can't see me. Can you see
Yeah.
me, Jarrell?
Nah, you
You can't
gone.
see me.
Nah, it's just
Oh,
me on the screen.
wow, what's going on with my camera, man?
It's just me. They hear your voice, but they just see me.
Let me see. Can you see me now?
Yeah, I see you now.
Okay, look, I had myself blocked. Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, but what I've been trying to bring is education through other people that have more knowledge in certain areas than I do, especially things that we didn't get either taught in school or didn't get taught the right way in school or more in depth in school like we should have. So the guy that I'm bringing on, I met this dude. We both had auditioned for a play and got the parts for the play. And I had already seen a pic of him. I didn't know him, and you can tell by the pic that this dude was serious. He worked out. Can you see me? He little. Okay, so we need to make Jarrell big then. So how do we do that? Okay. But either way, I'm trying to see how I can get him bigger. My bad, y'all. Jarrell, look, y'all got to bear with me on this, man. Well, either way, I met Jarrell. We were in a play together, basically. But like I said, we saw the pics, and I was like, man, this dude, you can tell this dude work out. I mean, from the pics, some people you just can't tell till you see him in person, but you can tell that on the pics, this dude work out. So I walked in because I had to leave. I got there, I think first few rehearsals, but I had to leave for a week due to the job or whatever. And I came back. When I walked in, he was already there because he's a dude that believes in being timely. So he's already sitting at the table. I walk around him. I'm to my. It was like it took forever to walk around the dude, man. The dude just he look at me and I look at him. There was no ill feeling. There was no bad feeling because us as black men, sometimes we like to size each other up and just find something wrong. Wasn't nothing like that between us, man. It was love from that moment. We good with each other. And I asked him, about fitness and health and stuff like that. And man, without changing the word, that dude just filled me in, didn't charge me. No, look, man, happy to give us that information. So listen, y'all, without further ado, as they say nowadays, without further ado, look, I want to bring my guy Jarrell McBride on, man. Look, I'm gonna get out the way and I'm gonna put him on. Hey, Jarrell, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing wonderful and I'm blessed, man. I'm so thankful that you invited me onto the show. I
Yes,
see you
sir.
doing your thing, brother. A
Appreciate you.
lot of people are learning. I appreciate you. I know they appreciate you. Um, so how I got started in fitness, just growing up, like pretty much everybody else on what they deem the sad diet, the standard American diet. We just
Yeah.
eating everything in sight. And as I grew up, seeing uncles and aunties and people have all these issues, seeing my uncle, one of my great uncles, putting insulin in his stomach and stuff like that. And I'm
Mm.
like, what's going on with him? Like, why is he having to do that? Even having to keep a piece of candy close by, my sugar getting low. And I'm like, what's this about? So I
Right.
became very curious into what all that was about. And as I got older, when I went into the military at 20, I still was pretty much eating whatever. I had started to get into working out in the gym, but as far as the nutrition part, I was pretty much still eating the same. I was eating fast food, everything, pork chops, everything you can think of, I was eating.
Hmm.
And went to the doctor. The doctor said, you got high blood pressure. You got to take this medicine. And me being the researcher that I am, I said, let me go research what does this medicine do? What are the side effects? And they was talking about, hey, maybe you couldn't get an erection. And I was like, oh no, I know I'm not taking this. So I said, no, I got to find a better way than this. I said, no, I'm not taking that. So,
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, what can I cut out? What's increasing my blood pressure? Come to find out, pork. Uh, just whatever reason, if I eat it, I get angry. Like my blood pressure goes up, so I'm like real anxious, and my patience is low, and I get angry, and I cut the pork out. Went back to the doctor. They was like, "Are you good?" I said, "Okay," but they didn't tell me that, and that's the thing. This world, it doesn't educate us. We have
Right.
to educate ourselves. Whether that's people like me talking to people like you, whatever the case is, or just going out here and getting the information for yourself. YouTube, the internet, books, the information is out here. But if you're looking for mainstream news to tell you what to do, they're not, because it's a business. You going to the doctor, you staying sick, it's all a business. So nobody wants you to be in good health all the time, because good
Gotcha.
health all the time doesn't make money. So I'm gonna give you information based upon my experience. I don't know it all, but I've been in it long enough since I was 18, researching and learning and growing, and you know becoming wiser because of it. And that's what this journey is about. There is no shortcut. I'm gonna tell everybody there are no shortcuts. There
Gotcha.
is no silver bullet, no magic pill, no one size fits all formula. Because
Hmm.
I can tell you exactly what I'm doing, but it may not work for you. So a lot of things are trial and error.
Gotcha.
So
So you actually had high blood pressure at one time?
yeah, I was tinkering on what they would call pre-hypertension, and I was right at that edge, at that threshold. And so I decided to make a change, because the last thing, what I started to think of was all my uncles and aunties and people in my family that, died, at young ages, in their 40s, 50s, early 60s, and even my granddad, because they weren't taking care of themselves. They weren't doing what they were supposed to do, smoking, drinking, just all these bad habits, eating whatever, uh, and it would kill you. And so I got to the point, I said, no, that's not going to be me. I'm the type of person, I can learn from watching other people. Some people, they got to hit their head on their brick wall to know that that
Right.
hurt. Me, I was
Right.
like, I just saw him crack his head open. I'm good. I'm gonna realize where he went wrong, and I'm gonna go the other way. And
That's
so,
me.
yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Man, so man, I have to ask you, and I'm gonna let you roll with that. So at one time you had what we would call unwanted weight on you.
Oh yeah. Like I said, when I first got into fitness, just working out, I just thought, oh yeah, you just work out, that's it. I just eat whatever. I was 18, 19. I'm still eating whatever. But I'm reading the magazines. I'm on the internet. I'm researching. I'm learning about eating better. But I wasn't. I was more concerned with the gym part of it, and realizing that was just one aspect, one level to the whole cycle. Because you have to complete all phases of the cycle in order to have those good results that you want. So I was just working out, but I was eating whatever, and I started to gain fat. And I was like, "But I'm working out." So I didn't. I was bigger, but I didn't look how I wanted to look.
Gotcha.
I looked okay, but yeah, I had put on some weight and stuff like that, and it was a little disheartening. So it really forced me to learn more. It really pushed me, and like I said, I was one of those people I'm just so self motivated. Once I experience something or I see something in somebody else, I'm like, I need to learn whatever I need to learn so I don't have to go through that.
Gotcha.
You know.
Gotcha. All right. So tell me about your journey, man. So you got into fitness, man. Take me from there.
So got into it, like I said, about 18. Um, Went into the military, started to learn. I was dealing with some underlying issues that never paid attention to. Started educating myself. Now, as far as the gym part, as far as working out, I was good on that. Played college football and things of that nature, and so I was always active. So as far as working out, I knew what I needed to do. But the main thing was the knowledge, was learning what to put in my body and what effects it has. And I spent countless years learning and self-educating myself on nutrition. um, then when I got, I say, about 25, I mean, I was dialed in. At 25, I was dialed in. I still was making a lot of mistakes. I still was doing a lot of things I shouldn't do. But I was getting better, and I think I was at a point to where I really was satisfied with my results from what I had learned over the years, and I was really putting those things into practice, and I really became, what I saw as a great man. But I knew that the journey is never over, because things always happen. Injuries, you get hurt, and things of that nature. And as you get old, I'm 36 now, so once you hit 30, then the joints start to ache, knees, and I'm sure a lot of people can attest to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Things
Yeah.
just start to act up and break down on you that wouldn't
Yeah.
expect it. You don't feel so immortal anymore. One day you go in the gym, you're feeling great, and the next morning you can barely roll out of the bed. You feel like you got hit by a train. And so you're like, oh my God, what is going on? What's wrong with my body? So, that just forced me to take my education to another level. And, then I started to experiment with different types of diets, people doing keto or low carb, or high protein, low carbs, or, no fat diets. I've tried it all, fasting and things of that nature. I've went vegetarianism, so many different ways. And because I was dealing with what so many people deal with, and that's inflammation.
Gotcha.
Inflammation is
Gotcha.
probably one of the biggest issues that we all face when it comes to eating. Like I said, the standard American diet is very inflammatory. And anytime you have inflammation in the body, it just has a whole systemic process for causing all types of illness and diseases. Uh, and a lot of cause of a lot of diseases now is always stems back to inflammation. We have to control inflammation, but not so much in the way of medicating, but in the way of natural healing and knowing what to eat, what not to eat. Uh, but like I said, now at this point, I'm all about teaching and really giving the knowledge. I've always been very open for learning. I'm always been very open for teaching. And that's what has really gained me so much momentum when in this aspect of life. And it has really enhanced every aspect of my life. So I tell anybody, if you're doing fitness just for the looks, you're in it for the wrong reason, because this is about figuring out who you are. And
Gotcha.
you're not doing it just for you, because when you're healthy, your family is healthy. They're seeing you become stronger, they're seeing you become better, they're seeing you implement all these different habits, and you begin to lead by example. Just doing the things within yourself, people going to look up to you. Then we each one teach one. So that's my purpose, man. I'm just fulfilling my purpose. And like I said, fitness, it started out as just a thing. Hey, I just want to look good, but it ended up being something that avenue of really teaching and learning, not only just about myself, but helping others achieve the same thing as well.
Gotcha. All right. So on the inflammation part, now I've had issues with that, back issues, and that's what they were saying. Okay, back spasms. You're basically your muscles are inflamed.
Yeah.
I talked with a cousin, Jarrell. He's a little bit younger than me, a few years younger. He said, "Cuz when I strengthen my core, I
Hmm.
stopped having back issues." But listening to you talk, and I know a lot of stuff sounds like common sense, but to be honest with you, it's those dumb questions that really we need to know, man. So sounds like it's a difference between nutrition and fitness.
Yes, it's a huge difference. Just going into the gym, that's just one aspect. To me, I can break it down into three simple, just to make it simple, three aspects. You got your diet, what you're eating, the exercise, the fitness part, going into the gym, and then you're resting. Those three areas have to be managed in balance in order for this whole thing to work. It's like electricity. You got to have a positive and a negative, and you got to have something
Mhm.
connected to. And if there's a kink in that wire anywhere, that bulb is not going to light up. So if there's a kink in your wiring somewhere in your programming and what you're doing, then you're not going to see the results that you desire. And it's just as simple. You can be doing everything else right. You can have everything else wired up perfectly, but you have a kink right there at the end, and that kink is gone. It's gonna do you
Wow.
under every
You know
time.
what, Jarrell? I'm gonna tell you what makes me feel bad at times, man, because I used to be a lot more in shape than what I am now. But what gets me is if you have now I'm 47, but you'll have people that's 20 and 30 years older than me that's healthier than I am. And I'm happy for them, but I'm mad at myself. Like, how did I let myself go? But they're old enough to be my parents. So you can literally have, from what I've seen, you can have somebody healthier than you that's old enough to be your parents. You can have somebody healthier than you that may be a little bit bigger than you.
Yeah.
Because from what I've seen in the gym, a lot of guys, I'm not gonna say a lot, sometimes there are people there that can lift bench press 300, 400. I mean, easy,
Mm-hmm.
and still be inflamed and still, have diabetes and still it's just we just need to be educated on that. So let me ask you this, man. Um, and for those that can't see me, I'm doing it on purpose. I want y'all to see Jarrell. Because when I had it earlier, the view was just showing him in a small pic. That's not doing me any justice. But either way, Jarrell, um, for people that need to know, I know everybody has different body types, but standard wise, is
Mm-hmm.
there certain things that's just good for everybody's body, certain vitamins, certain nutrients?
Yes. One nutrient in particular, one vitamin, rather, it's not really a vitamin, it's actually a hormone, vitamin D. Especially when you're talking about, Black or African American individuals, any melanated skin individuals. Uh, and the darker your skin is, usually the more sunlight you need to even acquire an adequate amount of vitamin D. So, according to the CDC, 90% of African Americans are vitamin D deficient. 90%.
Wow.
Now, this is something that they don't headline on the news every day,
Right.
uh, but it is a huge source of systemic illnesses amongst our people, because vitamin D is a hormone that basically controls so many different processes in the body. We're talking about immune system, bone density, muscle mass.
Wow.
And if your immune system is compromised, your bone density and your ability to maintain muscle mass is compromised, you're going to be sick constantly. You're
Wow.
going to be battling with things. You're going to gain a lot of weight. Vitamin D deficiency is really a killer. But the reason why you're not going to hear a lot about it is because our people pay millions of dollars in the medical industry, billions a year, uh, from being sick, from medication, or going to dialysis clinic. I mean, we're probably the number one contributors to, their money, to the medical industry's money machine. And
Wow.
why would they tell you something that such simple? Because vitamin D is cheap. You can get 6 months supply for $20. Vitamin
Wow.
D3, that's the active
Man.
form. So you guys, you go on Amazon, make sure you look for vitamin D3. Uh, just whatever brand, do your research. I'm not gonna recommend a brand, but
Gotcha.
just do your own due diligence. Vitamin D3, that is probably the number one most important vitamin that you can be taking right now. So if you're not already taking it, that's number one. Number two is omega 3s. Now you can get that from cod liver oil, and that's something that I take on a regular basis every day. I do cod liver oil. A lot of people they don't know about it.
I didn't.
They don't understand the difference between. Well, they're fatty acids, and omega 3 and omega 6, they work together in the body, but they have to be in the right ratio. And like, so say for instance, you go eat a box of Popeye's chicken or
Mhm.
KFC. That grease, that oil, that chicken was fried in that's high in omega-6. Omega-6 is very inflammatory. So the
Wow.
meat itself is not necessarily that inflammatory, but once you dip it in that grease, you just created an inflammation bomb. So if you're going to eat fried chicken, hot wings, then you throw some liquor on top of that, French fries, all that cheese, all that different. You just put an inflammation, nuclear destruction in your
Oh
body, and
man.
a lot of people are suffering because this is the type of diet that they're eating, and then they're not getting any omega-3s at all, because unless you're eating things like flax seeds and almonds and different nuts and stuff like that, or fatty fish like salmon and tuna, you're not going to really get a lot of omega-3s in your diet day in and day out. So the ratio is off, so inflammation is going to be through the roof.
So omega threes are good for what now?
Omega-3 is going to balance out the ratio of omega-6s in the body. This is going to bring down inflammation. Now, it's
Okay.
not going to stop inflammation, especially if your diet is still high in omega-6s. Now, if you can get your omega-6 consumption under control, you're not eating things like chips and hot wings and French fries and all that all day long. If you look on the pack and it say safflower oil, sunflower oil, canola oil, all these different types of oils in there, don't mess with it. Now, olive oil, if you're cooking, use olive oil or coconut oil.
Gotcha.
These oils are very high in omega-3, but be careful not to heat them up too high to their flash point, because you kind of chemically alter the oils. So kind of is more so for low temperature sauteing and stuff like that. Not really, don't go too high on the temp, but olive oil and coconut oil is what you should be cooking with if you're going to cook with oil. Do not use vegetable oil. Don't use canola oil. Don't use sunflower oil, safflower oil. Throw that out.
Okay,
Get you
gotcha.
some extra virgin olive oil, or get you some coconut oil to cook with.
All right, Deara had two questions. She said, how much water should you drink a day? And do you suggest intermittent fasting?
As far as water, I would suggest drinking at least 3 quarts a day. At
Okay.
least, if you're not really active, 3 quarts. But if you're active, you're sweating, you're perspiring, get you a gallon. Get you a gallon a day. Keep your body flushed out. And then if you want to really add some detoxifying benefits to your water, squeeze you some lemon juice in there. Now, not from the out the bottle lemon juice, because they didn't heat it. That's pasteurized juice. You want to get it fresh out the lemon. Cut you up a
Gotcha.
fresh lemon,
Gotcha.
squeeze that juice off in there, or slice it up however you want to do it. That's going to really help your body detoxify. And now, as far as intermittent fasting, I am a huge advocate of intermittent fasting, because one of the biggest issues with food is that most of us have an unhealthy relationship with food. We just want to eat all the time. And what I hear from a lot of people when I ask them about their diet, and they say, "Well, I'm dieting, or I'm not eating that much, but I'm not losing weight." I say, "Oh, okay." They say, "I hear this all the time. I don't eat that much, but I don't eat that much. Why am I not losing weight?" I say, "Okay, what are you eating?" They tell me what they're eating. It don't. They say only eat 3 meals a day. I said 3 meals. That's how you eat anything in between those meals. Oh yeah, I got snacks. I got this and when I wake up. But I say, "Are you eating when you wake up?" No, I skip breakfast. I say, "Are you drinking anything?" Yeah, I got coffee. I said, "What you put in that coffee?" I got cream. I got sugar. Mm-mm.
Wow.
The main issue, or what we're trying to accomplish in intermittent fasting, is we're trying to lower insulin.
Okay.
Insulin tells the body to store fat. And when insulin is low, your body will burn fat. It will burn calories for energy. But when your insulin is high, every time you eat something, a refined carbohydrate, or you're consuming sugar, your insulin is going through the roof. When insulin goes up, you can forget about losing weight. And then after the meal, insulin comes in to bring down the blood sugar. The blood sugar goes down. But usually when blood sugar goes down, it goes down rapidly because of the intake of carbohydrates. So it's usually that crash that people feel. And they associate that crash with being hungry again. Oh, I need to eat something else. So they start snacking. So sugar goes back up, insulin goes back up. So they never get into a fat burning mode. They never
Wow.
allow their body the ability to burn fat for energy, to actually lose weight, because they keep telling the body to store. Every time you eat, you're telling your body to store weight. So that's
Wow.
where intermittent fasting comes in, because we want to control the time frame from which we eat. It's just control eating. We want to eat within a specific window. And I always suggest going at least 16 hours without food and 8 hours of a feeding window. Now, what that typically will look like is you're just skipping breakfast, and you can start eating at noontime, and you cut it off at 8 p.m. And in that 8 hours, yes, it is important to eat a healthy and balanced diet during that period of time. But I know a lot of people are not, just not adequate or equipped at this moment to make that great of a change. But if you can make any change, intermittent fasting will probably be the number one recommended change, because you give your
Wow.
body a chance to rest, you give insulin a chance to lower. Then, when you add exercise into the mix during your fast, you're going to lower insulin even lower. You're going to burn even more fat for energy. You're going to lose even more weight. You're going to feel even better, because your insulin is low and your body has become adapted to producing ketone bodies. That is the actual hormone that breaks down fat for energy. So we need ketones to burn fat for energy. But whenever insulin is high, ketones go down. And as long
Wow.
as you're snacking, I tell people, don't snack. If you're going to eat, just eat a whole meal, because
Gotcha.
you're hurting yourself. Either you say, well, it's just a little snack. It's not that many calories. I said, that's not the point. Once you spike insulin, it doesn't matter if that was 1,000 calorie meal or snack, or 100 calorie snack. It doesn't matter. Once insulin goes up, fat burning just went out the window. So you can
Oh
forget about
man.
losing weight. And you can say, well, I only ate 2,000 calories today, but how often did you eat? Well, you pretty much every 2 hours you was putting something in your mouth. Either you was eating it or you was drinking it. You was either eating calories or drinking calories, like every 2 hours consistently. When did your body have time to rest and burn fat for it? When did it have
Mm,
time? You never gave it an opportunity.
gotcha. Jarrell, I heard you say something. Man, you saying some, man, listen, you educating us, doc. But I heard you say, when I talked to you a while back, you were saying that um as far as now, you were talking about intermittent fasting, but man, it was something that you said was very fasting, basically intermittent fasting. Like you said that that was the best way to cleanse the body at one time. I
Yes.
remember you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I told you about it. Yeah, it is the best way to cleanse the body, because when you fast at over any extended period of time, your body goes through a process of autophagy. I know it's a scientific term. A lot of people may not know what that means, but to make it simple, it's when your body starts to recycle. It starts to get rid of old cells and proteins and things that aren't working
Mm,
right, that need to be repaired or replaced. Your body starts cleaning up house.
okay.
And
Okay.
when you're fasting, or in that fasted state, of course, you can't have anything that would spike insulin. So no sugar, any sweeteners. I don't, not even stevia. You don't want xanthol, none of that stuff, because even though that stuff doesn't actually have sugar in it, but it does trick the body into thinking that something sweet was eaten. Therefore, it will trigger some sort of insulin response. Not as much as real sugar, but it will trigger. We don't want to mess with that at all. So even during a fast, if you want to even deepen your fast, that's where the lemon water comes in. Then if you want to
Okay.
add ginger to it, uh, and these things, even honey to a degree, I would, even a small bit of honey. I know it has its sugar in it, but as far as detoxifying the body, yeah, some honey, lemon, ginger. That's my go-to every day, personally. When I'm in a fasted state, it really helps you detox. Really helps you detox. And fasting is the number one way to detox. Now, actually, a lot of people might not know this. Dry fasting is medically the number one way to detox, but you have to be very careful with that, because you're not consuming any water in the dry fast. You're not consuming anything,
Okay.
period. But I always recommend the water fasting, where you just you water only, or you can drink tea, just plain tea, like matcha tea, green tea, something like that. Nothing with any sweeteners, like I said. Or you can have regular coffee, just plain coffee, no sweeteners, no cream, just plain coffee. If you need that little extra boost in energy, or if you get hungry, That was always my go-to, a little matcha tea or green tea to help overcome that little hungriness that you might get when you're initially trying to fast.
Mm,
Now that I've been doing it so long, I don't even need the tea. I can just drink straight water, and I'm
gotcha.
fine. So
Okay. So De'Ara and my cousin Angie had a question. So De'Ara says, so during intermittent fasting, eat 3 meals, no snacking in between.
now during that feeding window, I mean, you can eat if you can get 3 meals in 8 hours, go for it. You don't have to. You can go one meal. You can go two. It just in that window.
Gotcha.
Once like I said, if it was set up to where you were fasting for 16 hours and you only ate from 12 noon to 8 p.m., whatever you're gonna eat in that window, eat it in that window. Once 8 p.m. hits, you're cutting everything off.
Gotcha. Okay. And Angie asked, how often should you do intermittent fasting? And she actually put 12 to 8. So
Now,
how often
intermittent
should you do it?
fasting is something you can do that every single day, every day,
Wow.
every day. Now, sometimes me personally, I do prolonged fasting. I may go on a 2 to 3 day fast, just 2 to 3 days, 72 hours, no food. And I feel great. I'm not gonna lie to you. And it's all about really first getting accustomed to fasting. And I'm gonna say this for those who have never done fasting or intermittent fasting. When you first start intermittent fasting, your body is gonna start to break down all of those toxins and that have built up in your body, and you may feel sick, you may feel faint, you may even feel fluish. But trust me, your body is detoxing. A lot of people are like, hey, I want to detox, but you sure? Because detoxing ain't fun. Detoxing, you don't usually feel bad if you got a heavy amount of toxins built up or a lot of blockages and different pathways in the body. It doesn't feel good when all that starts to come out. You start to feel bad because a lot of toxins get stored in the body fat. So usually once people start
Mm,
tapping into the fat stores and the body starts burning, they usually feel sick, like I don't feel good. I don't this and that. I say, look, if you're really concerned, you can get a blood sugar monitor and monitor your blood sugar to make sure you're not going hypoglycemic or make because you might be diabetic or something. But other than that, if you're a healthy individual, you're not a diabetic or pre-diabetic, you should be able to do this safely. But if you start to feel sick or faint, go to your doctor, talk to them about it. Definitely monitor your blood sugar. But most people are just feeling sick because a lot of the toxins get stored in your body fat, and when your body starts to burn it
mm.
off, it's gonna detoxify all of that that's in the fat as well. So you're not gonna necessarily feel great. But after a while, you will get used to it. No pain, no gain. It's as
Wow.
simple as that. There's no easy way out of it.
So De'Ara asks, man, I appreciate that, Jarrell. So De'Ara asks, is it best to do your cardio in a fasted state in the morning?
Uh, I say, yeah, you can, and it does have its benefits. As far as fat burning, I would say overall you will burn a little bit more fat. I would say don't do too much cardio, but anything from light to moderate amount of cardio in a fasted state, you do good. Until you really get used to it. Now, once a person is really used to fasting and their body has become more fat adapted, producing ketones and for energy, then they can do a little bit more. Like me personally, I can be on a 3 day fast and go work out heavy and do cardio and all that and feel great. But if a person's body is more still accustomed to burning carbs, they may feel like very faint. They may feel like they want to throw up. They may feel,
Mhm.
all types of different things, and it may discourage them. So I say, do what you can if you feel, weird or anything, especially in the beginning stages. But people who have been doing it and they feel confident, hey, go for it. You will burn a little bit more fat in the long run for sure.
Gotcha. So I got a question for you, man. Looking at your size right now, and I've seen you in person, man. I wouldn't have ever guessed that you were fast sometimes 2 or 3 days a week, man. So how do you maintain your size and you're not intaking anything?
That's the wonderful thing about fasting. A lot of people seem to believe that if you don't eat, you're going to shrink. That is not the case. Our genetics
Wow.
evolved over thousands of years. Our ancestors had to evolve in environments where food was not always readily available. They were hunters and gatherers. They had to go out and find it. They had to go out and hunt something. And in order to be able to find what you needed, you had to remain sharp. You had to remain strong. You had to remain fast.
Mm-hmm.
Your focus and your agility, your neurological ability had to remain at tip top peak condition. So a wonderful thing happens when you fast. Testosterone increases, growth
Wow.
hormone increases, which that's the hormone that keeps you youthful, that keeps your body regenerating, replenishing itself. It basically can roll the clock back, make you look younger. I mean, so a lot
Wow.
of people out here, they're looking for a youth potion. Fasting, that's your youth potion. Learn to fast, do it the right way. Hey, you will roll back the clock, you'll look a whole lot younger than you are. Your skin will glow. Like I said, testosterone is going to increase. That is for the guys. Now, for the ladies, of course, estrogen, whatever, it's going to balance out. Your hormones are going to balance out. Growth hormone is going to increase. You got autophagy. Your body is detoxing. It's cleaning out all those cells, all those bad proteins. It's cleaning out viruses and stuff like this. So even when you're sick or your body may be battling a bacterial infection and things of that nature, fasting has shown medically and been proven that it allows the body to fight off things a lot better, more efficiently, more rapidly, because it didn't have these other things placed, putting it to work. Like you putting in food, you eating this bad diet, you eating all this sugar, and your body has to tend to that. Your body has to allocate resources to handle all of that, and it cannot be stretched too thin to where it's worried about viruses and bacterial infections and
Mm-hmm.
fungal infections. Now we got all this sugar and all this bad carbohydrates thrown on us. We got this terrible diet. This person ain't getting enough sleep, so we not even rested well. We don't have the energy, and the body, unfortunately, something's got to give. Something's always going
Man,
to break down.
now you dropping some major gems, man. I'm gonna tell you, I always have this saying: I ain't the best Christian out there, but I am one, man, and I do believe that God speaks because I can. So I remember one time, Jarrell, this is just a vision he gave me, man. He was showing me how the body is similar to the car or vice versa. Now,
Yeah,
me, everybody tripped because they know I love white cake, man. But the thing is, he was showing me your body, well, basically a car, like my Camaro. It's a
mm-hmm.
2SS, um, premium fuel, man. It takes
Right.
premium fuel. Now
Mm-hmm.
I asked GMC, Chevrolet. Basically, I asked them, could I put regular in it? Like you can, but to get the best performance, you need to put what we recommend, and that's the premium.
Right.
And God was
Mm-hmm.
showing me that, man. Like your body is the same way. You can eat cake Monday through Friday. I don't know how long you live, but you can eat cake Monday through Friday. But to get the best performance, you need to put what the body is recommended, man. So what you're dropping, Jarrell, man, I'm telling you, man, this is what we need. De'Ara said this is amazing information, man. So, and like I said, man, this is from spiritual to natural, natural to spiritual, man. I just want to help people, and I know you do too, Jarrell. So I wanted you on here, man, because I only like to deal with people and that's sincere about what they do. Like my
Absolutely.
barber, man. I asked him one day, probably about 3 years ago. I said, "Man, this your passion?" He said, "Man, this is my passion. I love it." So, hey, I stuck with him. Man, we go to restaurants. If I see the same server that gave me good business, hey, I go back to her. Passionate about it. And man, when I heard you over the phone, I had you on speaker because I was busy, man. And De'Ara over here, she said, "Clint, I've had plenty of training as far as information from different personal trainers." She said that dude gave you 100% excellent knowledge. I said, "Wow." And then she said, after the dude I had on here for the credit. And she said, Clint, we probably need to have somebody on there that talks about health and fitness. And I said, "Oh, I already know. I ain't going nobody else but Jarrell. I just gotta wait till when he ready, when he ain't busy." So man, I appreciate it. But we ain't stopping here. Look, some folks, it was some people saying some peanut oil, man. So that's bad for you.
I've tried peanut oil, but peanut oil too it does have some omega-3 in it. So peanut oil is kind of, it's inferior when you talk about olive oil and coconut oil. But if I had to pick a number three, I would say peanut oil. But really staying away from high amounts of oil in my diet at all.
Gotcha.
Now, because when you're sauteing, you're not using that much anyway. You're using a small amount. Now I understand when you deep frying, nobody's gonna deep fry olive oil. You know how expensive olive oil is. So if you must deep fry, yeah, use peanut oil if you must. If you gotta have that fried chicken, you know. Yeah, I understand. You know, we all gotta live a little bit sometimes. But yeah, I would say use peanut oil for any type of big frying cooking.
Gotcha, gotcha. I'm going through the comments, man, because there was some people asking, man. I knew. So, hey, man. So, getting back to what I was saying, I don't see nothing right now, so I'm gonna jump in, man. A lot of times we have colds and stuff like that. It's basically due to our diet. A lot of times, ask me.
Absolutely.
Oh
Absolutely.
man,
You know, the way you eat, because your immune system is producing 80,000 cells a second. Your immune system
man,
is producing 80,000 cells a second. And every 2 to 3 months, your immune system has completely turned over all new cells. And the thing about that is, these cells could be just as good, worse, or better. And it's all based upon you, what you have done, your environment, and what you're eating, what you're experiencing. So if you're not exercising, or you're not sleeping well, or you're eating very unhealthy, this is going to give you a type of immune system that's not going to function like you want it to. It's going to underperform, like you said, like the car. You put in regular fuel, but the car is calling for premium.
mm,
Obviously you're going to lack performance. So people
mhm.
are putting in terrible foods. They're spiking insulin constantly. And obviously, once you start to put on extra body fat, these are the things that set you up for so many illnesses, let alone worried about a cold or the flu. But yes, your immune system cannot function under those type of conditions where you're putting subpar fuel into the body. You
Gotcha.
cannot put garbage in your body and expect it to perform. Now, I know it looks good, because
Mhm.
every time you turn on the TV, they're advertising everything. They glorify everything that's terrible for you. And I want to caution people with that. This world will put you in a whirlwind if you let it, because it's going to promote everything that you shouldn't do and tell you it's okay.
Yeah.
It's perfectly legal. You can go out here, you can go to the liquor store, you can buy as much alcohol as you want. Nobody's going to tell you no. You can go to McDonald's, you can order as many Big Macs as you want. Nobody's going to tell you no. No
Mhm.
one's going to stop you. You can get as many Cokes as you want. Nobody's going to stop you. But these things will kill you. It is guaranteed. You go every
Wow.
time you go to McDonald's, you're shortening your days. I'm sorry. That's what people really don't want to hear, but it is the unadulterated truth
We need
that
to
if
hear it,
you're
man.
eating fast food, if you're going out, you're killing yourself. Period. If you're eating sugar, you're drinking sodas. I don't care if it is a zero diet or the zero, whatever they call Coke
Zero
zeros and stuff
sugar,
like that,
yeah.
because they have the artificial sweeteners, and the artificial sweeteners are neurotoxins. They're just as work. You better off just getting the sugar. If I was
Wow.
going to drink a soda right now, I'll just get the one that got the sugar in it, because the neurotoxic artificial sweeteners are even worse. Are even
Wow.
worse, and they still elicit a insulin response. Now, the terrible thing about like the Coke Zeros and stuff, I know I'm kind of going off topic,
No,
but
you
I know a
good.
lot
You
of
good.
people do drink those and they think they're in the clear. You ain't in the clear. Actually, you're doing a lot worse, because what happens, your body intakes that and says, okay, we got some sweet. Okay, just run up insulin. Okay, it's coming down. Then the insulin is out looking for some sugar to, put it in the cells. And it's like, ain't no sugar. Where is that? We've been hoodwinked. Where is that? So
Wow.
that when insulin is circulating in your bloodstream, it's going to make you hungry. So the first
Mm.
thing people do, they go eat something. So they run and snack on something. They eat. And the thing about sugar or refined carbohydrates, they do not elicit a response of satiety. They suppress those hormones that tell you, hey, I had enough. I'm full. That's why if you eating like that, it's like you can just keep eating. It's like you never get full. It's like you see people that
Mhm.
just eat all the time. But if you look at what they're eating, it's always refined carbohydrates and starches. Now, if you've seen a person eating a steak, just a pure steak, and once you get to a certain point with that steak, man, you full. You like, man, if I eat another bite, I might throw up.
Right.
But look at people when they drinking sodas and they eating cakes and donuts and refined chips, and it seems like they can just go through the whole bag and not get full and want some more.
Hmm.
because it does not elicit a response of satiety. So that's why it's even double deadly, because once you start eating, it's like you can't stop because you don't never feel satisfied. So it's like you turn into a pig, and it's like on accident because you're like, I wasn't intended on eating all that. I can't believe I ate that whole box of donuts. I just gonna have one or
Hmm.
two. That's because when you ate that one or two, you thought that you was gonna feel satisfied, but like I said, it does not elicit a response. It actually suppresses your ability to be satisfied. And that's why
Wow.
you just keep eating it, keep eating it. Meanwhile, insulin is just boom, 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 boom. Then it gets to a point, if you do that long enough, your body stops responding to insulin. Like, hey man, we tired of you, man. Insulin, we
Wow.
tired of you coming around constantly trying to give us sugar, bro. We done. We cool. We don't want to hear from you. We closing our doors. Now you become insulin resistance. Now you're a type 2
Mm.
diabetic. Now you got to
Oh,
find a
so
way to
that's what
lower
that
your blood
is.
sugar. Yes, that's what that is.
Oh man, I never knew that, man. Hey, so I
You've
won't
abused
forget.
your body. You've
Oh
abused your
man.
insulin in your body. You have misused yourself basically, and your body it's fighting back. It said, no, not. Hey, look, we don't want no more. We good. We tired of all this sugar, man. That's all you give us. It's too much. We can't handle
Wow.
it. So the insulin, and it was like, well, damn, if I can't get sugar in there, then the sugar just gonna remain elevated. Now you hyperglycemic. Now you going through those symptoms, and those symptoms can kill you. You know, you hear about situations where people in traffic, they go hyperglycemic or something like that, and they crash out. You know, they can kill themselves, kill other people, or people who go hyperglycemic, they get delusional, they can get angry and just, you would think they were on something. They seem like they
Oh
could be losing their mind when they go hyper or hypoglycemic. So we have to be very cautious. And like I said, this world does not educate us on this.
at
Why
all.
would it when it's making billions of dollars off you? If I'm
Exactly.
trying to make billions of dollars off you, off your ignorance, why would I tell you?
Exactly.
Why would
Exactly.
I tell you how to keep money out of my pocket? That's a fool right now. I'm
Man,
trying to make money. I got a business to run. So,
that's crazy. Man, Tasha Smith. She said, basically, what are the best snacks to eat if you just got to have a snack?
uh, I would say eat like some cashews, almonds, walnuts, pecans, maybe even a fruit, maybe an apple, watermelon, banana, things of that nature. If you're gonna snack, yeah, something like that.
Man, listen. So on the fruit thing, now we've all seen people who went on fruit diets. They didn't eat nothing but fruit and water. I guess too much of anything is bad for you, but how bad
Absolutely.
are fruits, man?
Fruits they're not bad for you. They're sugar, just like anything else. They have fructose in it, and then the fructose is going to spike insulin. It's going to stop your body from burning fat. It's going to send your body into fat storing mode, like any other type of sugar. But when you talk about nutrient density now, versus if I just took a spoonful of sugar, versus if I ate a handful of blueberries, the blueberries have phytonutrients. It has vitamins, minerals. It has a lot of things that are going to be beneficial to the body other than the sugar content. But of course, if all you're eating is fruits and all, and you're just constantly eating it all day, obviously you're still abusing that same insulin system, insulin and sugar response system. So, and that's what you don't want to do. So you can, like I said, like even in the intermittent fasting protocol, in an 8 hour window, I mean, eat as much fruit as you like. Honestly, you're still gonna see results. I would still say have some moderation with it, but you still do, because 16 hours out of the day you're not eating nothing at all. So it's still a
Mm.
win-win situation for you. So it just becomes a point to where people try to say, when they're constantly snacking in between meals, well, it's a fruit, it's a fruit. I understand that. Yeah, it does have some benefits, but you're still spiking insulin. And that's the major problem here. We do not want to consistently spike insulin. And as long as we can keep insulin low,
Hmm.
we can keep our heads high. I say that, keep insulin low, keep your head high,
Gotcha.
because you're going to be able to lose weight. You're going to feel a whole lot better. You're not going to be dealing with these constant crashes, and that's where a lot of people get stuck in. They constantly snack because they feel tired all the time, because they got caught up in that cycle of sugar in, then they crash, sugar in, then you crash, sugar in, then you
Mhm.
crash. So they just become carbohydrate junkies, sugar junkies. And it's medically been stated that sugar is more addictive than heroin.
Yeah.
Sugar is probably the sugar is the most deadliest thing you can consume. Period. It is.
Wow.
I don't care what sources come from. Now, what I have found as a solution to that, when you are eating, is right now I prefer a high protein, high fat diet. So, I will eat a meal like steak and eggs, just pure steak and eggs. And I will feel satiated. I will feel great not having no carbohydrates in the meal. I still do eat carbohydrates, but I would not eat a high fat, high protein, and then a high protein a high carbohydrate in the same meal with my fats and my proteins. So if I'm gonna eat steak and eggs, I'm just gonna eat steak and eggs. I'm not gonna throw carbohydrates in the mix. Or versus if I'm gonna eat a meal, I'm just gonna eat just carbohydrates. Like I may make a big bowl of oatmeal, just pure rolled oats, nothing added to it. Just straight water. That's it, and that'll be my carbohydrates. And although oats still do have some protein in it, but it's mainly fiber and carbohydrates, and that's going to make you feel satiated. Now, when you start eating these quick packs of oatmeal, with the sugar and you start cutting up too many fruits in it, and you want to add all this stuff to it to make it sweet, you're spiking insulin. So then you're going to crash, and you're going to feel tired, and you're going to want to eat something else. So we want to avoid any high response in insulin. So whenever you combine carbohydrates with high protein, high fat, it's like the worst of both worlds. It's like, and that's what a lot of people do. So for instance, like I said, you go to a fast food restaurant like McDonald's, you go get your two Big Macs, a large fry, and a soda. So you got the meat that's in there, if you even want to call it meat, but let's just say it's high in protein, but the bun is refined carbohydrate, so it's high in starches and sugars. The fries is all starch. It's a potato, so it's starch. Then you add the oil in it. It's highly inflammatory. Also, that's high fat. So now you got high fat, protein, sugar, refined carbohydrates, all in one meal. Then you got the soda on top of it, the boot that's going, and it's cold at that. So anytime you drink something cold on top of a hot meal, all the fat that's in there, you just solidified the fat. You ever see the fat get harden up inside
Oh
of
yeah.
a skillet, after you can cook something in it, that
Yeah.
what we call lard or whatever. Yeah, that's what you're creating in your stomach. So it makes it harder for that stuff to digest. And you
And that's clogging
delay,
up the arteries.
yeah, you delay the digestion of the protein and the fat because your body's always going to try to digest sugar first. So you're going to end up with a lot of indigestion, a lot of constipation, things of that nature. You're going to have a lot of digestive issues because that food is just going to be sitting there because your body going to try to process all that sugar first. But unfortunately, you didn't put so much sugar in, it cannot handle that. So now your body is just sitting with the food is just sitting on your stomach for a long period of time. So people get acid reflux real bad, and they don't know why.
Oh.
Or they got a lot of bloat and gas. Like it just feel like they just got holding a lot of air. And it's because you just basically created the worst concoction. So basically, like I said, you go in a fast food restaurant, it's like a recipe. They should just put the skull with the crossbones on the window and just that's what we're serving because literally that's what
Man.
they're serving you. It's the worst of the worst. It's the worst thing you can do to your body. It's like I said, dropping a nuclear bomb in your body and calling it good. Because and I ask a lot of people, so why do you eat like that? Well, it's cheap. It's cheap. Well, so you're saying death is cheap, life is
Mm.
expensive? I don't think so because in the long run, you may come out cheap at first, but you're gonna spend all that money back 10 times as much to get those medical bills under control
Mm.
because medical debt is the number one personal debt in America. Medical, not car, not mortgage, not child support. Ain't none of that got people under the water more than medical debt. Period. So
Wow.
It ain't got nothing to do with is food too expensive. Now spend that extra buck, spend an extra $5, $10 to get the food that you need. And really eating healthy is not that expensive. You just have to spend a little bit more time preparing it, versus just pulling up at a window and letting them serve you your coffee. But the choice is yours though. People you have to want to change. You
Yeah.
can sit here and listen to me till you blue in the face, but until you've decided that you want to change for something more than just you,
Hmm.
because what you see a lot of people, they want to get into fitness just for the vanity, just to look good,
Yeah.
you know, and that's a part of fitness, looking good, because if you're feeling good, you want to look good.
Hmm.
But it's not the main purpose. It's not the main goal. And what I see a lot of people do is they'll get to a certain level of fitness and health. They'll accomplish a minute amount of achievement. They'll lose a little weight. They'll feel a little better. And then it was all to go on vacation and destroy it all.
Yeah.
Destroy it all. I'm gonna
Yeah.
use your analogy on the car. It's like you saved up all your money and you went and bought that dream luxury car, that sports car, that supercar, whatever it is that you wanted, that Bugatti. You just
Hmm.
had to have it. You
Hmm.
got it. And the first day, I can't wait to drive it. And you took it to the track and you ran it smack into that brick wall like a crash
Mm.
dummy. That's what people are doing. They are getting into fitness
Wow.
just so they can show people, hey, I look good, but they go to the track just to drive it into a brick wall and smash it up. And they're back to square one again. I don't know
Wow.
what happened. I gained it all back. Well, the only reason why you tried to lose weight was so you can go on vacation and drink and eat all the food that you could with your friends and call that good living. I don't know how many posts I see on social media. I ain't judging nobody, but I see it all the time. People, they party, drinking, they taking shots and all this. Is that what we see? We glorify the wrong things. First of all,
Right.
we
Right.
glorify unhealthy living.
Yeah.
And I grew up around that. So and I lived like that for a period of time. So
Mhm.
I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt for it, and I realized that is completely backwards. That we are here, every time we talk about we living our best life is always with a glass of liquor in our hand. It's always with
Mhm.
the most unhealthy food on our plate. We think we doing it. I gotten to the point now I look at it and I'm just like, I kind of get disgusted by it. I'm like, man, it's
Yeah.
sad, really, man. Our people just out here destroying themselves and call it good living. I'm like, that ain't living. Actually, you want to be healthy. Like I said, it's not just about you. Most people, your existence, you being here and healthy and able is greatly affecting somebody else. Somebody is existing mainly because you're existing. That
Mm.
their happiness in
Wow.
existing, their motivation in existing is because you exist. And so first we have to get that into our mind that it ain't just about us. It ain't just about me. That other people are looking at me and saying, I have the drive to carry on because I see he has the drive. And then on top of that, I have children, I have a wife, I have a mother, I have a brother, I have people that look at me, look up to me, just like you when you met me. It's like you see it, you start
Yep.
talking to me, you start
Mhm.
learning, and you're like, man, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I've been needing to hear. And you know it when you hear it because it's like you get goosebumps. You're like, man,
Yep.
oh my God, like, man, I've been missing out. Like, man, I got to get on track. And
Yeah.
that's what I realized my purpose is, or one of my purposes of living is to
Man.
to to, to give that love, that light, that wisdom, and that knowledge to others and forward, because we're all in this together essentially, and we're all going through a journey of self, and we're all trying to figure each other out. We're all trying to learn more about each other and trying to find ways to love each other. And we just cannot, if our bodies are in disease, and you break down the word disease, it's dis-ease. So the body is
Mm.
not at ease with itself, it's not at balance, it's at odds with
Wow.
itself. If you
Wow.
have disease on the inside, if you have conflict internally, you're gonna have conflict externally. So a lot of people say, "Man, why is stuff going on in my life? It ain't right. I'm constantly having these issues, blah blah blah." And they talking about the external world. And I say,
Mhm.
well, let's break down what you're doing to the internal world, what you're doing to the temple.
Mm.
And you see their diet is terrible. They're not sleeping good. They're not eating good. They're not working out at any. And I say, how do you expect the outside world to be what you want it to be when this right here isn't right? Because Everything that is out here that you're seeing, that you're experiencing, it's a reflection of this in here. So whatever's going on within the temple, like they say, as within, so without, as above,
Mm,
so below. It's a reflection. Yeah, there's a lot of craziness going on in the world, but you create your own reflection like everybody else. So if you're putting in poison and disease in your body, that's what you're going to experience out here in your everyday life. I mean, it is what it
man.
is. It's cause and effect. We cannot escape. There are certain laws in this world that
Hmm.
have been put in place that I can't bypass. Nobody can bypass. Period.
Gotcha.
And if you think that you can just eat whatever you want to eat, do whatever you want to do to your body, and there's not going to be consequences, there is always a consequence for what you do. And I want people to know that even if you decide to do things that aren't good for you, at least know what you're doing and make a conscious choice in what you're doing, and realize that there are people who love you, who care about you, that if you die, if you come down with cancer, and it's usually going to go back a lot of the times to something that you weren't taking care of yourself. But now everybody has to come together to try to help you, and you're sick in the hospital, people having to come visit you, people crying their eyes out, wondering if you're going to be okay, if you're going to make it to the next Christmas or to the next Thanksgiving, because you didn't take care of yourself. How selfish is that? So we
Right.
got a
Right.
lot of selfishness going on amongst our people. It's a lot of self-centeredness going on amongst our people. They just want to look good just so they can show it off in front of other people. Stop looking at it that way. We want to look good to inspire other people to be better for themselves. Because I'm doing this to better me, but I'm also doing this to show other people, hey, you can do it too. And
Man, look, I told De'Ara, I said, man, when she said that, she was like, we need somebody to talk to us about health and how to take care. I said, oh, we already got. Look, I'm looking for some more people on some other subjects. I already know who to bring in for this, man, because it's kind of like a barber I used to go to.
yeah,
He said, Clint, I didn't go to barber school. Like he said, I didn't go to barber school. He said, I already knew how to cut hair. I went to beauty school. I wanted to learn how to do hair because I already knew how to do this. The information that you were given, I'm asking about working out, man. And you started talking to me about nutrition. And I'm like, this is what I needed to hear. I wanted to hear the plan as far as how many reps and this. But listen, on that note, my cousin Angela Franken said, what does a balanced diet look for you on a daily basis, Jarrell? Please include your exercise time.
okay. So for me, um, I wake up in the morning. I don't, like I said, I intermittent fast. I'm not eating anything. So around noontime is when I actually will eat, and I will eat 4, maybe 5 whole eggs. And sometimes I may eat oatmeal, but a lot of times I don't. So I would just have those eggs. That's it. Uh, and then I will go work out in the evening time around 4 o'clock, and I may work out for maybe an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. Because I kind of take my time. It's not
Mhm.
super high intense, and I focus mainly on strength training. I don't do a ton of cardio. Some people like doing cardio. It all depends on your goals. And I would tell anybody, when it comes to fitness and learning about different exercises, first know what you're trying to accomplish, because there's different training protocols. If you're trying to build muscle, or you're trying to be a bodybuilder, or you're just trying to be more aesthetic, or if you're doing it just for general weight loss, just for fat loss, there's a whole different form of training. So if I told you my training regimen is more for strength and size to maintain what I have,
Okay.
so I'm not really doing a whole lot of cardio, because if I did, I would lose a lot of muscle, because that's what you tell your body to do when you do a lot of cardio. It's like, oh, this muscle is just too heavy, it's too much, it's too taxing on the body to be able to do all this running and to have all this weight. So I'll drop weight. And since I don't want to drop weight, I'm not doing a lot of cardio. But then after my workout, a lot of times I eat rice and beans. So I get jasmine rice, put that in the rice cooker, give me some black beans, cook those. And so I mix maybe like a cup and a half of the rice and a cup of beans, and I saute veggies or bell peppers, onions, zucchini, and I put a little minced garlic in there as well. And I may use steak. I may use shrimp. Sometimes I do chicken, but mainly it's steak. And so I had a steak with it. So I'm getting my protein, getting my carbs, my fiber. I'm refueling my body. So I tend to try to save my carbs for the end of the day because I know I've expended those carbs when I worked out and throughout the day. So I'm just trying to get enough just to replenish. And that's the thing. People eat so many carbohydrates is that beyond replenishing carbohydrates, your body just gonna store it as fat every time. So if you haven't depleted yourself of it, then you putting it in your body all throughout the day, it's kind of pointless in the sense of losing body fat because your body's just gonna force it right on back into the fat cell. Say we're just gonna save this for later, so you don't want to get what you need, and you really have to dial it in. And like I said, everything is trial and error, and you really have to figure out what works more for your body. And that's why I would tell anyone to do your due diligence, do your research thoroughly, and be willing to try different things and listen to your body and really get in tune with yourself. It takes time. It's no quick fix to this because everybody's journey is their own individual journey. It's going to take time, so if
Mhm.
you're 30, 40, you're just starting out, it's going to take time, but you got to think 10 years from now, you're going to be in the best shape of your life. So people trying to look at the short term, think long term, because if you a little bit now, just get a little bit of knowledge in you every day. Every day spend 30 minutes to an hour, learn something new, read something, figure out what herbs do this and that. What can I take for this? What can I take for that? Research thing. That's how I learned so many things. I just acquired knowledge over time. I
Yeah.
didn't learn everything at one time. It's too much. It
Yeah.
really is because
Exactly.
me and you, we can sit on here for hours, and I really just touch the tip of the spear when it comes to health and nutrition. I'm really
Man.
just touching the tip of the iceberg here. It's really so much deeper than that. But yo, that's my diet is pretty simple. It's mostly eggs, rice, beans, vegetables, and meat. Uh, mainly
How,
steak,
how do you
mainly
cook your
beef.
steak, man?
I saute it. Sometimes I put it on the grill, but mainly I saute it in the little strips and with olive oil. I really don't use that much olive. I may use a little because steak gonna always have a little fat in it, so it kind of cooks well on its own without any
Okay.
help from any type of oil. So yeah, I just saute it in cast iron skillet. That's my go-to when I'm cooking, cast iron all the way. Anytime you sauteing, if you want the best cooking method for your veggies and stuff like that, or your meat, cast iron skillet. That aluminum stuff, it don't cook the same. It don't taste the same either. Trust me.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Because some people would say I like my steak medium well, and
Oh
some
yeah, I
say
do. I like it. I like it about medium. Yeah, I
medium.
like it with a
Okay.
little. I like it with a little red. I don't. When I was younger, I was like, oh, that pink, was turned off, and I did my research and did my learning that no, it's not a bad thing. It's not gonna hurt you. It's not like chicken to where if it ain't cooked all the way, you got to worry about all these, infections and things of that nature, being food poisoning and what have you. It's not like that with beef. You can actually eat beef kind of on the rawer side, and your body will do just fine with it. Actually, process it a little bit better than when it's just cooked too well. But
Yeah.
it's hard to get people to understand it until you actually try it. But I like it just what they say medium well. I like medium well.
Gotcha. Now, I don't know if anybody would agree with me or if they're the same as me, but one of my issues over time, outside of consistency, is the taste. Like, not big on blueberries, not big on some of the things you mentioned, but De'Ara said something that you said. We was going to rehearsal, and you, not like me, we kind of are like in this area. I like to be on time. So you were getting there, man. I was getting there straight off work. And man, you were eating chicken and rice, chicken and rice.
Yeah, yeah.
And De'Ara said, man, do you get tired of that? And she said, your reply was, I'm
I
not
don't get tired of
living to
results.
eat, I'm eating to live.
Yeah, that too. But yeah,
So,
another thing I say to people, I don't get tired of the results.
but man, look, I De'Ara told me, and she had been on me, man, when we first met, because we was going to the gym together. And she
Yeah,
said, Clint, everything that's good for you may not taste good right off, but it's
it
good
will
for you.
eventually. Yes, yes.
And man, I've heard people, pastors, everybody, man, we have got to start learning to eat to live instead of living to eat. Everything shouldn't, but there are some healthy foods cooked right naturally don't have to be cooked that taste good though.
Wow, absolutely. Like I said, even a simple meal of rice and veggies, some bell peppers and onions and zucchini and some broccoli. I also steam broccoli too with it. And man, it is wonderful because like you can season it up differently. Me, it's all about how you spice your food. I use a little chili powder, a little chipotle, a little black pepper, a little lemon pepper on my veggies, and what else I put on there? A little black pepper. Sometimes, if I wanted to be more of an Asian flavor, I go with like a little sesame oil on the veggies to add that flavor to it. Maybe a little teriyaki sauce on it, glaze on it, on the meat or whatever, and just kind of change up the flavor with it. But it's just you really got to become versed in the kitchen and just start experimenting with different spices and herbs and just really learn how to make your food just really taste good. Because the veggies, like I said, you first start eating things. When I was young, I wasn't eating veggies like that. Like I said, I was eating a sad diet, standard American diet. It's
Mm,
probably little to no veggies in there. My mom,
mhm.
I remember they had the hardest time trying to get me to eat a green bean when I was a kid. I was about to throw up at the table. I was a little kid. You gonna eat these green beans and you ain't gonna get up from this table. And
Same
I
here,
was like,
same here.
I had to fake it. I was putting it in my hand in a napkin and hiding. It's like, yeah, I ate it and go to the bathroom and throw it away. So, I wouldn't eat it to save my life. But once like I said, I got into nutrition, I started to learn better. I said, nah, man, I don't care how this stuff tastes. If you're telling me that this stuff is going to make me better, this stuff is going to make me healthier, it's going to make me stronger. Once I realized that, I said, man, that's what I'm doing this for. Forget the taste. I don't care what it tastes like. We throw a little salt on there, whatever we got to do. We're going to make it taste like something. And I started eating it. But what happened over time, my body reacted to that food in a positive way. So I started to develop a new connection with that food. Of course, the taste right off the bat, I was like, I don't really care for this. But eventually, my body was like, nah, that's good right there, brother. Next time you get some of that, yeah, it's gonna taste good. And then the next time, eventually I started tasting it. I was like, man, this is good because now my body had developed a connection with that food. And now when it tasted it, it was like, no, that's good. That's good for us. We want that. And it actually rewired my brain to where a lot of things didn't taste good. Now it
Mhm.
does. And now the things that used to taste good to me that were bad for me, now if I eat it, it tastes it don't taste the same. It's like, man, that's terrible. I don't say y'all eat that now.
Hey man,
So
I gotta ask you. I gotta ask you this, man. With certain diseases, be it cancer, diabetes, even stress. Um, Crazy question, but that stuff can be reversed with the right diet, right?
yeah, yes, absolutely. I've seen heard many stories from well-known doctors who have put certain dietary protocols on individuals. I mean, with stage 3 cancer, stage 4 cancer, people who have actually completely reversed their cancer. One story of one guy, it's a YouTube channel by a doctor, Dr. Berg. He's real big on YouTube. If anybody's on YouTube, look up Dr. Berg, Berg. This guy
Oh
is just a,
yeah.
yeah, he's a well of knowledge and wisdom. He's one of those doctors gonna tell you the truth. He's gonna tell you what nobody else is out here telling you.
Mhm.
But he had a particular guy that had a testimony on his podcast, and the guy had stage 3. I think he had some type of cancer. He had a tumor, and in 3 months, that man reversed his cancer in 3 months. When what he said he did,
Wow.
he said the first thing he did when he found out, he started doing some research and he decided to go on a prolonged fast. So the first thing he did, he fasted. I think he said he fasted for like 23, 24 days, something like that, straight,
Mm.
like no food, 23 days straight. This man
Wow.
was serious. He was trying to save his life. He was fighting for his life.
Yeah.
He said when
Wow.
he actually came, when he broke his fast, he went straight into a ketogenic diet. Now, if anybody don't know what a ketogenic diet, that is a diet that does not consist of any carbohydrates whatsoever. They can eat
Okay.
small amounts of it. You talking about like in veggies and stuff like that, but no sugar, no fruits, none of that whatsoever. No breads, none of that. Just straight like so. Their diet, they may eat like a lot of like everything is fat and protein. So like meats and like poultry, eggs and stuff like that. That's all they're eating all day. It's got to be fat or protein and no carbohydrates. But anyway, he went on the ketogenic diet and he did intermittent fasting protocol where he went at least 16 hours without food every day, along with that ketogenic diet. Because, like I said, it's been scientifically proven that a lot of diseases are driven by sugar, are driven by insulin, are driven by constantly spiking insulin. These diseases are being driven by this. Cancer loves sugar. If you got cancer in the body, oh, it wants you to keep eating all the sugar. So, and the thing about cancer is medically what they say is if we can see the cancer on an exam, it's been growing for at least 10 years. At
Wow.
least 10. You've been feeding it for 10 years. So it took at least 10 years for you to get to the point where we can see it medically.
Mm, I didn't know
And
that.
this man was able to reverse, I think he had like a 10 centimeter size tumor. 3 months, he had no cancer.
Wow.
3 months. So yes, these things
Wow.
can be reversed, but it's going to take a very strong wielded individual. It can be done, but if you're thinking that you're going to live somewhat similar lifestyle to what you were living prior to that, you're kidding yourself. And that's the thing.
Gotcha.
People want to figure out a way. Doc, how can you cure me? And I still do the very things that got me in here in the first place. Doctor gonna say, well, I can give you this, I can give you that, I can shoot you up with this, and that. And they will, because you're paying them to. And they're gonna tell you your survival rate, and then if you keep doing what you're doing,
Mm,
even if this radiation, you know, takes your cancer into remission, you keep living the way you live, and guess what? You're coming right back. You're coming right back.
wow. So
So even
that's
if you
what
do,
happened.
yeah, yeah,
Gotcha. I got to ask you this, Jarrell, because she asked me this a while back, or what she asked a while back, De'Ara. So high fat, high protein, low carbs.
yeah,
Okay,
that's
okay.
the way to go.
And she asked another question. Do you suggest tilapia? She said, I hear positive and negative about it.
Well, the thing about tilapia is a farm fish. It's not a fish that you find out in the wild. So there are a lot of
Mm,
speculations about, the environment, the different toxins that are present in these big tanks that they breed them in and grow them in. They call them farm fish. So yeah, anything that is farmed and not found in the wild is always going to be speculative whether or not it's really something that you should do. But since commercially it's been very profitable, you don't hear too much about it. Me personally, I have eaten tilapia because somebody told me about it. A bodybuilder, and I was training for a show. He was like, "Yeah, get you some tilapia." And me not being versed in fish like that, I just thought tilapia was just a regular fish until
mhm.
somebody told me, "Oh, that's a fake fish. That's a fake." I was like, "What? Fake fish? How you have a fake fish?" And that prompted me to do my own research, and I was like, okay, I see what's going on. It's a farm fish,
Wow.
so and they can put things in their water like antibiotics and things of that nature, so it could be contaminated with things. But then again, things in the wild, but I would go wild caught, so wild caught salmon. So I would personally, based on my knowledge at this point, stray away from tilapia. Not
Gotcha.
I didn't have any bad experiences when I ate it, but that's the thing with a lot of things. You don't really know until it hits that boiling point to where it causes something else, Because if you're relatively healthy and you're eating right, even if you're eating tilapia, whatever issues that tilapia may bring into the system, your body can quickly deal with it and flush it out. But I leave that to the individual. But I would say the best way to go is go get you some wild caught salmon because they do farm salmon too. They're farming all of these, even shrimp. They got farm shrimp now. So
Wow.
when you look on the packaging, you want to look at wild caught, wild caught. So whatever fish, seafood you eat, go for the wild caught. Or same way with your meats. With the cows, you want to look for grass fed because they do feed a lot of these cows. They feed them corn and soy, just like the chickens. And this corn and soy, they use it because it's cheap and it fattens them up pretty good. And especially when it comes to your chicken, they give them a lot of antibiotics because just they grow
Yeah.
chickens in such small spaces, big factory farms, and they don't really have space to really move around. A lot of them don't even develop feathers over their whole body. So a lot of chickens people eating, you eating a chicken that ain't even fully developed. You know, it
Oh
don't even have
man,
feathers over his whole body. You
I
know,
did
some of
not
them
know
don't even know
that.
how to walk good. They pump them for the antibiotics because it increases the estrogen activity in the body. Only it keeps them from getting sick, but it also increases estrogenic activity. Estrogenic activity increases weight gain, and chickens
Mm.
are sold by the weight. So the more fat, the more that they weigh, the more money that these farmers can make. So unfortunately, it's become a business of money, not health.
Wow, man. Look, on that note, before I let you go, man, I've got to ask you this. How do you feel about vegan diet, vegetarian diet, and meat
Uh,
diet?
me, me personally, I've tried vegetarianism. I did it for 7 months. I lost a lot of weight on it because I was also doing intermittent fasting with it. I lost a lot of weight and there was a lot of muscle too. I felt really great. I looked really young, my joints and stuff. And that was the reason why I did it. I experienced a lot of joint pain, a lot of inflammation response, and really couldn't nail down exactly what was causing it. So I decided, I'm going to take, a different measure, a different approach. And I cut all meat out. And I even did a video on YouTube about it, about cutting meat out now, because meat does elicit an inflammatory response, but more importantly, what I've noticed is chicken specifically creates the highest inflammatory response in the body. So
Mm,
I stay away from chicken as much as possible. I used to be a I used to eat so much chicken, and I always wonder why, I'm just eating chicken and rice. Why my knees hurt so bad? Why my elbows hurt so bad?
mm,
Why am I aching so much? But of course, when I went on vegetarianism, I didn't experience that. So I'm thinking like, oh, it's just meat in general. Because I had already stopped eating beef and pork for like 8 years prior to that. So I decided, I know what? When I went back to eating meat, I did go back to eating some chicken, and I noticed the pain came back. So I said, you know what? Let me just cut the chicken. I started eating beef again, and I noticed that when I ate beef, I didn't get that same response. My joints weren't aching. I was like, damn, I never would have thought that. And I kept doing more and more research on it, and based on my research, and beef is better than chicken. Uh,
wow.
a lot of people wouldn't believe it. I didn't believe it. I was like, nah, red meat, no, no, no. Now I'm a huge advocate. Now you have people that do the veganism, which they cut out all meat and anything that's an animal product. To me, that's just an extreme. It's an extreme diet.
Yeah.
Our ancestors evolved on animal products. I mean,
Hmm.
we use animals for every facet of life to make clothes, everything.
Hmm.
So it's kind of intimately in us to we need some level of meat. We do get our nutrients from meat. We get to get certain nutrients. Now, like too much of anything is bad. But
Gotcha.
veganism is just the extreme measure of like this higher moral principle of I don't want to do harm to animals. It's more than just a health thing with the
Yeah.
way veganism started. It was more so about just this humanitarian thing of I don't want to harm any animals, and like so like even vegans, they don't wear leather coats, they don't want to wear leather shoes or a leather belt, because it came from an animal. So veganism is deeper than just a diet, and it's not really something that's really good when you talk about long-term longevity, because there are a lot of issues that come along with veganism. So I would not recommend it. I would never do it personally. But if anybody wants to experiment with it, I say experiment with it. See
Yeah.
see what it do for you. Try it out. If your heart is telling you, no, I think this veganism thing is for me. I think this vegetarian thing is for me. Hey, go for it. But track your results. And for a lot of people that may not be doing this, go to the doctor, get a biometric screening. If you're not doing that yearly, you're doing yourself a disservice.
A
Get your blood
biometric
work.
screening?
Biometric screening, they're gonna pull your blood. They're gonna test out your A1C hemoglobin, see if you're possibly pre-diabetic. They're gonna test your white blood cells. They're gonna give you your vitamin D level. They're gonna give you all of these different markers. All of these different excretions, all these different things in your blood, iron level, so forth. All your different cells in your body, red blood cells. They're gonna give you everything that you need to tell you what's going on in your body. Cholesterol, that's another big one. And you need to know where you are, because you need to know if what you're doing is effective or counter effective. So you
Gotcha.
can't do that by just saying, I think it's working. How do you know? I'm the type of person I want to know. So when I've switched up diets and done different things, vegetarianism and going back to eating meat, I have paperwork every year showing blood tests from, okay, this when I was vegetarian, this is where I was at cholesterol, this is where my blood work was at. Now I'm back to eating meat and plenty of eggs. And people say, oh, you eating all this whole eggs, your cholesterol will go through the roof. Not according to my blood work, is not.
Wow.
And so I have paperwork to prove it. So when you can hear things and people say, no, you shouldn't be eating all the egg yolk. It's high in saturated fat and cholesterol, and it's gonna clog up your arteries. I say, okay, well, I got blood work to prove that that's a lie. So
Wow.
it's a lot of things out here. It's just, and when you look at the research that was even based on, it was incredible, because there are more factors in creating blocked arteries than cholesterol itself. Yeah, cholesterol is a part of it. And what I've learned is when you combine a high fat diet with a high carbohydrate diet, that is a deadly combination. So to me, whatever you choose to eat, you need to pick one side or the other. You either gonna go high fat, high protein, or you just want to go high carbohydrate. Now, if you can eat a lot of carbohydrates, if you eat them by themselves, they will have a lot less drastic effect on the body negatively versus when you add in protein and fat in there, because it's just too much for the body to contend with at one time. It's like an overload. It's an overload. You don't want to overload your system. And that's the main thing. We want to keep everything at a manageable level. That's why intermittent fasting is so great, because it keeps everything at a manageable level. Give your body adequate time to not only digest and assimilate the food that you've eaten, but to clear and flush out toxins that came along with it. And then give it time to actually rest. So it needs time to digest, assimilate, heal, and rest. And it's going
Wow.
to take time to do that. And you cannot do that if you're eating every 2 hours of the day. You're snacking every two, because your body like, dang, okay, we got to go deal with this food now. We got to deal with this snack now. I can't deal. I know you're sick and all, but I can't deal with your virus because I got to deal with this snack over here. Because you're allocating resources. It's like a business. If you got so much money flying into one section of the business, the other part over here is called, you're going bankrupt over here. You're going
Wow.
broke over here. You got a hole in the boat. You're sinking. You think you're doing good, but you're sinking. So, uh, like I
Wow.
said, if anybody can take anything away from that, do not combine high carbohydrates with high fat or protein. Don't combine the two. Like, if you're going to eat carbohydrates with some protein, keep it small and have some fiber in there. The fiber is what's going to blunt the absorption of sugar. So like that's why when I say rice, people say that's high carb. That's going to break down the sugar. But then I add the beans in there, which is it's also high carbs, but it's high fiber. The
Okay.
fiber is going to blunt the effect of sugar absorption. It's going to slow it down a lot. Like
Wow.
you can eat not so healthy, but if you threw in a half cup or a cup of beans a day in your diet, man, it would be like a lot of that stuff wouldn't affect you, because that's how powerful beans are. That's a whole nother topic. I can talk for hours just about beans alone. Beans are
Oh
very
my
powerful.
God.
So if nobody's eating beans, black beans, kidney beans, pinto beans, white navy beans, get you some beans, people. Get you some beans. Like beans are one of them. They make you a little gas at first because your body gotta get used to all that fiber and stuff. But just eat a little bit at a time. Don't try to eat a whole lot at one time. It will give you some gas. You might clear out the room. But
Okay.
beans are very powerful because they have an effect of blunting sugar absorption in the body. Therefore, keeping insulin low. Remember what I said, what we're trying to do is keep insulin low. Beans are going to help you keep your insulin low, even in the presence of a high sugar diet. The fiber in beans blunts that effect. That's how powerful they are.
Wow. Man, I'm writing up. Man, I got a whole page full over here, man. Um, I do have to ask you this, man. These are questions that's coming to me, Jarrell. So I apologize, man.
Oh no, you're good.
Is it you just mentioned like the gas, like a person that pooed all the time, man, is that healthy, man? Does that mean they're unhealthy? And
Oh,
the color of urine, what is I've heard so many different stories. So the first question is in regards to the gas. The
yeah.
second question is, So what color is healthy urine?
Now, as far as gas, I mean, people get gas for different reasons, and a lot of it comes from a fiber in the diet that the body is not able when when the different bacteria begin to digest that fiber, they produce a gas as a byproduct, and so the gas is usually a byproduct of what's going on with the microbiome. You know, people, a lot of people don't know this, but within the lining of your stomach and your intestines, there are more bacterial cells than you have red blood cells in your entire body. You have more bacterial cells in your digestive system than the regular red blood cells, white blood, all the other cells in your body combined.
Wow. Wow.
That's
So
how.
urine. Oh, go
Yeah.
ahead. Go
Now,
ahead. You
as
said
far
that's what now?
as far as urine, you it can have a light yellow hue, like a watered down lemonade, but anything darker than that, you probably a little dehydrated. Now, if you're a person, you're taking vitamins,
Hmm.
stuff like that, a multivitamin, it's gonna darken your urine because that's what a lot of people don't understand about these multivitamins. Oh, should I take multivitamins? I don't take multivitamins for the simple point that a lot of the stuff it's a lot of the vitamins out here, they're synthetic, and the body
Mm,
doesn't absorb them very well, and you end up just peeing them right back out. And they will
right.
make your urine very, very dark. So a lot of people are like, I've been drinking plenty of water. Why is it getting dark? Dark, like bright neon yellow or something like that. It's
Hmm.
because you're taking multivitamins. They will do that. Because your body's actually just flushing it out. But it should be like a watered down lemonade color, like typically. That's a good indication that you're hydrated for sure.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Man, listen, y'all. Y'all see the pic on the screen? That is the result of being serious and obedient to your diet. If you look at the pic on the screen now, this is the example of what not to do. But anyway, y'all. Um, look, on a serious note, Jarrell, man, man, my wife back there killing us. Seriously, man, you have educated us, man. I don't know if you've seen all the comments, man. People are really appreciative of you tonight, man. Seriously, man. Man, you have dropped a lot of knowledge, and I'm a very transparent person, man. Um, when you meet somebody that women may consider attractive or a man may consider attractive, as far as a woman, vice versa. A lot of times, Jarrell, we've all met people like that to where they were stuck up.
Yeah.
They didn't want to be bothered. They just, hey, I'm just God's gift to earth. Man, listen, I know, man, when I first met you, all the raves and all that, man, but talking to you, man, it was like I told De'Ara, I said, that's family, man. That is family. And she agreed. She saw you at the gas station one time. She said, I saw Drell. I spoke to him. I said, that's family. That's family, man. You're so down to earth. Doc, you literally, believe it or not, you literally saved a lot of lives tonight, man. Because I know somebody's gonna go away from here, man, and say, enough is enough. I know we got Thanksgiving tomorrow. Food has already probably been prepared, but it may be sad to say, but afterwards, man, we getting this thing right, man. You saved a lot of lives, believe it or not, man. And I've noticed too, Jarrell, when it comes to medical, going to the doctor, I noticed that they can give you all, I've seen it done. They can give you all the prescriptions and all of that. But at the end of the day, man, outside of the prescription, they pat you on the back and say, hey, you need to change your diet.
That's it.
You write nothing down, man. Just change your diet. And man, I'm gonna tell you, man, you've been a blessing, man. So listen, I know you got a family you got to get back to. We gonna let you go, man. But hey, man, please understand you blessed us, man. You enjoy your night. Y'all, ladies and gentlemen, y'all have a great night, y'all.
Thanks for
Thanks,
having me.
Jarrell. Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate y'all. Yeah.